participants, my name is Esa Godua. I will take you through Module 4-1. Module 4-1 talks about developing plans for school-based training. Unit 4, Way Forward. In this module, there are 3 objectives. Module 4-1 objectives reads, by the end of this module, the participants will be able to 1. Understand that regular lesson practice at school can improve the ability of teachers. 2. Study the process of school-based training through studying the lessons in teacher's manual and conducting micro-teaching or lesson study. Number 3, develop a plan for school-based training. Participants, before we go into the main area of this module, we will do an ice-breaking activity. This ice-breaking activity is called Count Numbers from 1 to 100. Participants, I will give you 2 minutes to look for numbers or count numbers from 1 to 100. Your time starts now. Okay, participants, let's find out how many of you have counted or have found numbers 1 to 100. Tell your facilitator how many numbers have you found from 1 to 100 or numbers you counted from 1 to 100. Participants, your next try is to count numbers from 1 to 100 again. Participants, you have 2 lines drawn. This time, I'd like you to identify a pattern so that you can easily count from 1 to 100. Let me help you by showing you the pattern. On the left top, you have numbers 1. Right top, that's number 2. And then right bottom, you have number 3. So you can see each numbers are in each of the boxes. Then you go to left bottom, you will find number 4. So you can see the pattern there. When you go up to a left top box, you will find number 5, and it continues to right top, you will find number 6, and then it goes down to right bottom, number 7, and it continues. So I'd like you to now count from 7 up to 100. Okay, participants, I know that having the 2 lines separating the numbers has now given you a good, or made it easy for you to count from 1 to 100, because you had a pattern to follow. And that, when you compare your first try, you found it hard to get numbers 1 to 100. The second try, with the 2 lines drawn, there was a pattern for you to follow, which you can now count more numbers from 1 to 100. Okay, let me introduce to you what we will be doing for this module. Okay, this module, you will develop your own school-based training plan to enforce teacher professional development in the utilization of the national textbooks and teacher's manual. Now we have something to think about. We should know rules on what to do, especially when we are planning. Our discussion point: how can we improve skills of teachers? Did you say through micro teaching? Did you also say through lesson study meeting or study meeting? And of course, lesson study. To help improve skills of teachers, regular lesson practice at school can improve the ability of teachers. Teachers can improve the lessons in several ways, such as: 1. micro-teaching as you did in this training. Number 2, lesson study using real students. Number 4, teachers' manuals study meeting. Number 5, observation of real class among teachers. And number 6, sharing new teaching and learning materials. Now participants, we will go into detail in looking at micro-teaching. Micro-teaching. To conduct micro-teaching, the following steps can be applied. It is just the same as you have experienced in this training. For micro-teaching, number 1, you study lessons together in teacher's manual. Number 2, micro-teaching with colleagues. And number 3, discussion and feedback. As you can see on that diagram that explains micro-teaching. Participants, the next one that we will look at is on lesson study. To conduct lesson study, the similar steps can be applied as micro-teaching. Number 1, study the lesson in the teacher's manual together and decide on the theme for study. For example, how to conduct experiment or how to motivate students and so forth. Number 2, conduct lesson with students focusing on the theme. And number 3, discussion and feedback focusing on the theme. The diagram also explains what I have gone through with you. Participants, the next one is on teacher's manual study meeting. Let us look at that. It is important to study the teacher's manual in advance for good lessons. It is also recommended to conduct the meeting to study the teacher's guides together with other teachers. 1. Each teacher has the opportunity to preview the lessons for the term or the year in the teacher's manuals for their respective subjects and grades. 2. Teacher take notes on difficult parts in teacher's manuals in question form. Number 3. Share their questions with other teachers in the meeting and gather answers from others. Number 4. It is also good and recommendable to try out experiments or activities in teachers' manuals in the meeting. Next one, participants, we will look at observation of real class. What is observation of real class? Teachers may be busy and do not have enough time to conduct micro-teaching or lesson study. For this reason, it is recommended also for them to observe a class of another teacher. In this way, they can be able to share opinions and ideas which are also useful for the professional development of teachers. 4 steps to follow. 1. Decide on the teacher to conduct the lesson for observation. Number 2. The teacher selected will inform the other teachers on the lesson title, objectives, and the time for teaching to prepare themselves. 4. Other teacher observes lesson using the observation sheet used in this training. 5. After the lesson, observers and demonstrator discuss how to improve the lesson. Next, we will be looking at sharing new teaching and learning materials. Teachers can also study about new teaching and learning materials in school meeting. The following are suggested activity procedures. 1. One teaching or learning material is assigned to each teacher to prepare in advance. Maximum of 4 materials at once. 2. Each teacher prepares materials before the school meeting. 3. At the school meeting, each teacher shows their materials and explain or demonstrate how to develop them and how to utilize them in the lesson. And that will take you about 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Number 4, other teachers try on hands-on activities, 10 minutes again. Everyone freely discuss the use of the materials and suggest ways of improvement. Time given 10 minutes. And number 6, do the same with the other teachers assigned to the task, and this time 30 minutes times 4. Teachers, participants, management is very important. Let us look at points for school management. 1. Make sure teachers study teachers' guides before the lessons every day. 2. Allow students to bring their textbooks home because self-study is very important for their learning. 3. Copy the worksheet of the textbooks and give opportunity for every individual students to work on it. Number 4. Allocate teachers to different grade levels every year to make them to update their subject knowledge of all grades. Second last point, procure necessary teaching materials such as science equipment or equipment enough for all children to use. And the last point, make sure that the teacher do not bring the teacher's manual when they transfer out to another school. The manual belongs to the school and not the teacher. Participants, we will now proceed with an activity for this module. The activity is about making a school-based training plan. Okay, you have four instructions to follow. 1. Make groups in schools. 2. Brainstorm and identify the needs that your school need for improving teachers' ability to conduct effective lessons based on the standard-based curriculum. 3. Discuss the types of actions that should be conducted at your school. 4. Develop your own school action plan based on the actions identified in step 3. Point to remember, make the plan on flip chart or a chart by using the format in the next slide. Participants, we will use the example from Gaire Primary School. You can use this template, or you have another template to use, you can do so. So we have number 1, action to be taken. Gaire Primary School prefer to conduct school micro-teaching for mathematics subject, and the person in charge is the Maths HOD or head of department. Timing every Monday of the month of October 2018. Necessary resources, refreshments and teaching materials. And remember, sleep focus area that this training is focused on, that is on school-based professional development. Number 2 is on study meeting of science teacher's manual. And this time the person in charge will be the science HOD, and the timing for this school-based training will be every Friday of the month of November. Necessary resources, refreshments and teacher's manual. And last of all, it is still under this focus area on school-based professional development. Participants, this is an example or a sample for you to use. You may now break into your groups, but before that, I will take you through the 7 focus areas in sleep. These are the 7 focus areas, and I am sure many of you are familiar. Number 1, curriculum, student learning. Number 2, school-based professional development, which is teacher training. Number 3, management, administration, and leadership. Number 4, students' welfare. Number 5, infrastructure. Number 6, community and governance. And number 7, total budget allocation. Okay, with these 7 focus areas in sleep, you may use the template that was given to you earlier, and please develop your school plans. Participants, I'm sure you have finished developing your school plans. You can present your plans to your facilitator. I will now go through the rest of the module or the concluding part of the module. So our plans are very important, and to present these plans, you can display them at the school teacher's room. You can present the plan to inspectors and board of management. And remember that your school-based training will be in sleep. Participants, this has brought us to the end of this module. Let me now summarize our module 4-1. We have a question that we always ask: where do we go from here? With our plans, we plan, we revise. You can see the arrow pointing down. Do the action. Next, we can see or review our plans, and then through making adjustments, we plan again, and it continues. Continue the planning regularly and revisit to fit the situation. Next summary point, we always think key success areas. In planning, always think about the key success areas. In action or carrying out the plan, work with sleep plan. Don't forget your sleep plans. In reviewing or seeing the plan, revisiting the plan, make sure we think about proper management. Next summary point, the continuous management, review and redevelopment of the plan to adjust to the change of situations are important for the success of trainings at school level. And finally, take ownership and sustain professional development practices for standard-based curriculum. Remember, SBC is in your hands. Enhance quality of teaching and learning through standard-based curriculum. With that, participant, we have reached the end of today's presentation. Thank you for participating.